Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Dun, dun, dun. We've got Kevin actually running driving the bus out of, I think he's out of Roswell these days. So just want to make sure that YouTube's running. Oh, yeah, it is. Right, cool. Thank you so much, Kevin. Hopefully, I don't mess things up here. We had a cool daily brief. Today's Thursday. We have Julian, TRI principal, and probably the guy who sort of just makes sure that everything just gets done. I show it. Am I muted? Can you? I wonder. Wonder why my mute thing shows muted there. That was weird. All right, sorry. I'm not very good at these YouTube videos, everybody. So you already know that. Just bear with me. Thanks, Kevin. Um, we had Julian on the call today, and he gave his. We're actually calling it the bubble tea report. So baby powder, that's old. We're off to now bubble tea. Talking a little bit about sort of economics around Asia. Gee whiz, interesting situation. He said he's even noticing a lot of hot money is coming in from foreigners and buying up as much real estate as possible. So it's actually propping up the real estate market there. Thought that was a really interesting anecdote. At the same time, too, the tourist industry has just absolutely collapsed. So it's fascinating times we're in. That's definitely for sure. Um, here in North America, obviously, we're going to be dominated by political events happening in the United States of America through November. So obviously, that's got our attention. It was interesting. We have a team meeting. It's kind of cool. We have people from all over the world in our team. And Sjord is telling us about how things are going over in Europe. Interesting anecdotes coming out of there. So we all have our individual challenges. There's no doubt about that. As well too, and I don't know. I found it be interesting if you post comments. I find sleeping for me of late has gotten challenging. I'm having a really hard time getting a full, solid night's sleep. I don't know whether that's a function of me getting old or whether it's a function of these planetary cycles and human psyche all stressed out, or maybe me just internalizing all this. I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear from your feedback, whether you're having challenges getting good night's sleeps these days. As for the market, and as you can see from the dashboard, it is building out slowly but surely. Actually, it's coming along really nicely. Had a, like I said, cool update from the technology department here today in our meetings, and some of the fun toys they're working on. Super cool. So. For the time being, we are monitoring the S&P 500 breadth. It's not in a complete picture of breadth just yet, but I think on balance, it gives us a pretty good sort of idea of market state. I think we're delicate here, but at the same time, too, we are oversold. All it's going to take is somebody just to say the right thing, or just an econ to come out just slightly positive. And I think you could actually see a pretty precipitous counter trend rally. And also, too, actually, I think we're starting, crypto is a nice leading indicator. I'm starting to see some bullish action out of Bitcoin and some of the DeFi names. And actually, there's even one or two little shitcoins that are actually popping off here. As well, too, you probably noticed there are specialty parts of the market. The solar sector took off yesterday. So a bunch of TRIers. Fascinating how we have these club meetings and we come up with ideas. And generally, at TRI, we try to teach good principles. If you're shopping for stock, it's not a bad idea to just try and find low share count stories where insiders are long, relatively low debt, half decent earnings, half decent product, those kind of things. And it was interesting because, Kevin here, he's always full of great ideas. And one of his stocks absolutely went insane. But it's also a really good testament to the fact that if you don't actually eat your own cooking, you don't get to participate. So, Kevin, did you let that awesome find that you had there, did you let it slip through your fingers? Tee I'm being a little silly. Kevin, are you there? Oh, he's not going to talk to me
No, I
today. I
did. Yeah, I didn't move on it. Sorry, I had to
know.
turn
But
my
he
mic on.
did. And it's, I mean, I'm not trying to dog you, but for the viewing audience, what you have to understand is we're all individuals and we can come up with great ideas, but half of our battle here is good execution, following your plan, following up, and actually executing. I run into that problem all the time.
Yeah, I
So
just I didn't pull the trigger,
yeah,
but
and the cool thing is, dude, is you do such great analysis, such great work. Half the time, if he says he's interested in name, I'll just buy it. I don't give a fuck. I'll just buy it. So anyway, you're awesome, dude. Love working with these people, and I certainly don't mean to be rude there. If I was, my sincere apologies.
oh no worries, it's all good.
But it's you and working with Kevin, because keep in mind, Kevin, he came to me as a student, Brian. I want to teach me how to trade, blah 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 blah. It's beautiful watching him progress and evolve as a trader himself. And now he's actually a YouTube master. Imagine that. I bet you never figured you were going to master that skill.
Yeah, I didn't get
Uh,
into trading to make a show on YouTube. Things have a funny way of taking a turn, I guess.
yeah. So, okay. What the heck do we want to tell you guys here today? I guess the simple message is maybe let's not get too excited on the short side of the market now. I even had somebody yesterday say, "Oh, Brian, I bought this name and it's come off substantially from its highs. Should I sell now?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez." It's like almost the absolute worst possible position to put like somebody you're asking that question into, because technically they only have about a 33% chance of giving you a good answer, an answer that you go, "Wow, oh, man, I sure am glad I listened to that guy." So, anybody who did get like super bearish of things like the stock market and then things like the crypto market, look at Bitcoin's rallying back smartly here. Don't get sucked into, it's the same. Ironically enough, it's the same as direction going the other way. Market screaming higher. What do we say? Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. Market goes screaming down. Don't, wreck, don't wreck, don't wreck, right? Like just, uh, calm heads. Okay, so the general message out of the video today, the daily brief was, and generally I think Julian and I were on the same page. We have enjoyed a fairly substantial counter trend rally in the US dollar index, i.e., all the international currencies coming off against the US dollar index, which technically is a risk off bet. And I think that we actually hit bullish objective. I don't know whether exactly, pretty darn close here through the New York kill zone. So in essence, what this really became, which sucks because the public, they always get taken advantage of. But I actually think what happened here was there's the big trap being laid right on the U.S. retail open. So U.S. dollar screaming higher, euros collapsing, yen's collapsing, franc, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, stocks, gold, everything, Bitcoin, everything's collapsing right into that liquidity event window, the New York retail open. So sadly, of course, the public, they sell. Oh, get me out, get me out, get me out, get me out. And you can see what happens often on the other side of that. I mean, it sucks. It's just a brutal reality of capitalism. And that's why learning about liquidity pools, liquidity events is so critically important. So big trap was set, the trap was sprung, and you can see stocks, commodity currencies, commodities themselves, Crypto is all rallying back smartly here on that ABCD end of the event window on the US dollar. These things might rally back substantially here. They might. I mean, you can see that gold, for example, we've got quite a ways to come back here. Silver, same thing. It'd be interesting to see if this son of a bitch crude goes and breaks out through the top here and we ultimately get flushed out from this short that we put on paper short up top. I mean, that might ABCD its way higher. You don't know. Only time will tell. But the point here, like I said, is I think we hit a big inflection point there on that New York retail open there this morning. So with that said, a lot of the conversations we've had over the past few days watching this silly US dollar rally, they're probably reversing. So you see that stocks are catching a bit of a bid here. Stocks don't look happy. There are no W's here. So it's not like we're like, oh shit, new bull market. But they're enjoying a pretty nice counter trend rally. And you can see they could probably bring the stock market easily back up into this area, no problem. There's that crude oil. There's our short stop at scratch right now. They put in this little bottom big jump up. Could this be a bullish bot setup that takes us up to go and break these highs, market to new highs? Definitely a possibility. And what worries me about this is the profile looked like a train wreck off of the futures charts. It just looked, the profile looked like the market wants to get up here. So don't be shocked if we report, man, well, this latest stop got stopped at scratch. That's the way it goes. Also, too, of course, the metals, they really got their asses kicked here just past few days. Silver really fell apart. The gold hasn't really broken, collapsed. What I think happened here is, like I said, with the silver, it's absolute train wreck in the silver there. Where were those charts? Around here somewhere. Here we are. So I think actually what happened, we have actually a setup on the site we called the SFU, Sebastian FU. I'll let you fill in FU. And all it does is it actually looks and considers this a trade location. Can we find on the break of this key support line, we have horizontal support and resistance club, and they literally just go in and buy that low. Now, they probably got stopped out on that move, but what I might suggest for the public is on this event being tripped up, keep in mind the top's way up there. Could we see a 50% bounce of just this range alone? I think that's totally possible. So if you want to trade it, and actually it was kind of cool in the daily brief, Julian reported that he is actually long gold off of this bottom. So congratulations, Julian. If we want to just use volume as our indicator for divergence, perfectly fine. Hopefully you can see that we're making lower lows in price. And if this is a bear, we're making lower lows. We should see a higher volume bars. And hey, something's not right here. This bar is not higher than that bar. That technically is a divergence in volume. Then if you get another lower high in bear bar, you see that is the red candle there. And actually, let's just make sure the candles are colored correctly. Oops, tisk. There we go. So we actually now have a third red bar that's lower. If we actually get a red bar lower than whatever the lowest red bar is down in here, that actually tells you that the bears have officially fallen asleep. So it's incumbent on the bulls to wake up and take over. You can see nice big chunky green bar there, which is higher than this one, higher than this one, higher than this one. We didn't take out that bar. I would have liked to have seen this green bar higher than that bar. If that was the case, this thing probably would have just taken off like a rocket here. But point of the matter here is we can start seeing things like divergence. In essence, the sellers had just disappeared here. Even though price keeps working its way lower, where are the sellers? They're not showing up. So if we get any kind of signs of a W price action, remember this is a trade location. Boom, boom, boom. Hello. That's a W. So I wouldn't fault anybody for taking a long shot off of that level, risking against a break of these lows, and probably looking for, something as simple as a 50% bounce heading up here, which would take us back up into about 1900 and change, which would make sense too, because 1900, that's a big fat round number, psychological. We got some nice wicks up in here. That's actually the last time this market broke down. There is the structure. So, work our way up into here. That doesn't surprise me. Remember, we talked about US dollar running out of steam at a bullish objective. It comes back down. Remember, gold is priced in US dollars. So if the US dollar is going down, then that means gold should probably go up. Is this the start of a new bull trend? This is now a new market structure signal, right? What are we supposed to think? And that's still valid if we see the market smiling at us, which is in essence what that is. That's a big honking smiley face. So that's not a bullish chart. What this looks like to me is just, probably like a futures trader, day trader, prop trader, scalping the stock market trader kind of trade in there. And I see that right across the board on these assets. It's not really a new bull trend for gold. It's more just, actually, the great term of this, traders would call this a dead cat bounce. Boing. Anyway, interesting that this is happening, though. If gold can catch a bid and work its way, I would expect the crude oil to stall out. So we'll see who is driving the bus here. The silver market actually hit a bearish objective. Boom, 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 right there. What a surprise. Market actually went a little bit further and then is jackknifing up. Usually that's what happens around harmonic levels. The market will actually like oscillate around here. It'll go because of this Feigenbaum level and the 50% rule and the previous structural breakout level. I don't really think this is a new bull trend. This is things just working away, and this is the same thing as the oil. I wouldn't have my stop at a loss now. Don't want a winning trade to turn into a losing trade. Absolute worst case scenario, just put your stop at scratch. And if this thing does come back and trade up in there, fine, you walk away at scratch. Big fucking deal. My hunch is we probably just rally up into here, do something like that, and then continue our way down, kind of like what you saw happen in the crude there a week or so ago. Right? Where's that crude chart? That's this one. Interesting price action there. So kind of like this, big dump, counter trend rally, and then roll over. And then we find out whether this thing's going to bot its way out or do we continue working our way down. As I had said there a few minutes ago, this is more just sort of dead cat exhaustion on the US dollar index. A lot of these markets need to reload and recharge. I'm not really seeing any new trends established here, so be careful getting too excited on the long or short here. These are all just sort of like that gold analogy, dead cat bounce, counter trend rally, technical trades. Wow, sure, Brian sure is long-winded here. Interesting though, through all of this, the bond market's just doing absolutely nothing. Big, just hurry up and do nothing. Narrow sideways channel firming here again. Some hunches break above this high. Bonds are back in a bull, break below this low. Bonds are back in a bear. And it's, gee whiz, we've had this conversation just over and over and over about this crazy bond market and the narrow sideways channel that's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And I hate to say it, my knee-jerk reaction because of where we are in the cycles is I do believe this is a long-term cyclical pivot in the bond market. And I was cautioning everybody today. What I'm hearing from the talking heads is that interest rates will never go up again. And this is exactly the same as in 2000. They said that growth will never stop. Nortel networks will never stop growing. And anybody who's cautioned against that thinking, they publicly were chastised, ridiculed, and laughed at. And I have a feeling exactly the same scenario is happening now. I tried to convey that to the site. I'll try and convey that to you in the public on these free videos. Honestly, I don't know whether anybody's going to listen to me. But that's my honest feeling here, and I think you would be well advised not to get into the trap of going and borrowing a shitload of money right now. That's exactly what the banksters want you to do. Then using your collateral, and then all of a sudden, mysteriously, there's a big bond market crisis. Interest rates go ratcheting up, and the bank comes along and says, well, too bad, we're not going to refinance. And oh, by the way, we get to take your collateral from you because you can't make the terms of the deal. That's the trap, I think, that's being laid here. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Keep in mind, there's something like 10 to 20% of all U.S. retail uh, um, um, rentals, housing, are basically in default. They have massive amounts of back rent. I don't see how they could ever pay that. And not so much as a concern for the renters. I mean, like shit happens. We all declare bankruptcy. It's the way it goes. But what does this imply about, say, things like the mortgage-backed securities market? Mortgages are on houses, on property, on buildings. People aren't paying their rent. Rents are not getting paid. Is interest being paid on these mortgages? What happens if people default on rent? What happens to the landlord who has the mortgage? Do they get to default on the mortgage? I can see the next bond market crisis coming here. We'll probably Fugazi and money print our way out of this, but I can see the crisis coming. Anyway, only time will tell. Probably along the lines of stock market dead cat bounce, U.S. dollars rallied too far too fast, got to cool down. Gold market is, kind of maybe dead cat bounce. Still a little too early to get too bullish there on gold. Junior stock market came back down against bottom end of a range if we measure this Russell 2000 versus the Dow. I think you could make the argument, technicians probably look at this and start saying, hey, maybe there's some value down here at the bottom end of the range against this W. Get a little bit of a bid here. Way too early to be calling bull. Just more kind of like, well, we came back against the low ends of the ranges. Now are we going to hold? And I put on stocks like that cruise line stock. It's come right back down against its lows. It has not broken down. Kind of very similar to this. It's a paper loss right now. If we do break the lows, I'll just walk away. But, it's just a paper loss right now. It's just sitting on the books. And I see a lot of little junior names that tried to turn there as our breadth indicator tried to turn back up here. A lot of them are really floundering, and we may just have to walk away and say, no, we were a little too early there. I like the idea, and I've told you guys repeatedly, I think Bitcoin's a fantastic leading indicator. So if that's the case, and we see, exactly the same image, this is a 4-hour chart, not daily. Can you see the counter trend rally off of reload zones? I mean, how cliche is this? We started talked recently about things like candle body lows for trade location. I don't know whether I really like that outside of the reload zone. I really do like how they just pulled this colossal fuck you move here through that New York Hill Zone event here this morning. And then bang, 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 fractal bottom right off mountain, and away we go. So I was pretty impressed. I think, if I'm not mistaken, even Kevin, you said you picked up a bit of the corn here this morning off of that reversal, didn't you? I don't know whether we want to put him on the spot or not, but I thought I remember him saying that. He says, yeah, I bought the fractal. So anyway, he's typing his response here. So point of the matter here is some sharpshooters, day traders, lower time frame traders. Told you, good Julian, he grabbed that W on the gold, and guys like Kevin were coming in here on the Bitcoin and picking that up. Generally speaking, same sort of message. In fact, actually, I even put a fun tweet out the other day that it actually looked to me. Let's see if I can set this up. Yeah, that really what we have happening here is. And actually maybe something like that, right? This is, to me, this almost looks like Mountain Man ping pong. And you can see the profile here, definitely this node here now, especially with all of this action, the nice fuck you down here. Probably a ton of people came in on this fractal and loaded up here. I get the impression that we're just going to mountain man our way through here. And probably by the end of all this, we've completely filled in this profile. That's probably what'll happen. That's my hunch. Ultimately, this profile wants to look like a parabola when it does, terrible looking parabola. Sorry, folks. When it does finally actually look like a parabola, and hopefully we just sort of talk you through these videos, you'll see it. Then we know that we're ready to go to a new trading range. Right, there's your parabola. Maybe let's make that a little bit bigger. So, ironically enough, actually, my hunch, if this is everything's equal, the POC is probably going to be somewhere right around here. So, what that means to me is we're probably going to do this, right? We're going to go right, and so ultimately this all gets filled in, and this becomes the POC, and then we're ready to move to a new range. So really good tutorial, guys, because actually I did this a few days ago and tweeted that out a few days ago. And honestly, I think that's exactly what's going on here. It's really, really cool anecdote. So let's call it 10,850. Now let's call it maybe why don't we be generous? Let's call it 11 G's. That's sort of top end of the range. Bottom end of the range looks like it's the, not quite 10 G's. Little bit above there. I think that probably works. And if you did want to take long stabs here, my hunch is you think things like reload zones. So we could probably, if we're lucky, maybe like through the weekend, if we can get kind of pullback. I don't know where this is going to finish, but, dips down into these lows. Remember we talked about candle bodies for trade locations. So not a bad shopping area if you can sneak in on sort of lower time frame trade setups down in here. Is this something that I would do? I think I've told you repeatedly, I don't really want to buy Bitcoins in the face of this. That's just too ugly. We might be botting our way out here, which means I want to see one low, two lows. Maybe we can get a third low, maybe over here. Do some backfilling, and then, kind of like what you saw here. Get some nice consolidation. If that happens, well, okay, maybe we can start thinking about hitting the longs again. But that's still a ways away. Still quite a bit of work to do. So for me right now, I don't really like to trade off of the 1 hours. I just got too much shit on the go. And I can't be watching the screen 24/7. I'm just sort of sitting here, I'm a spectator. And interestingly enough, if we can ABCD our way up into this area, up into, say, 11, maybe if we're lucky, even 12, then actually I'm going to start really seriously asking about whether I want to strap on puts and shorts to look for a visit back down to the bottom end of the range again. So, okay. Was kind of cool coming out of the daily brief. Yeah, probably a pretty good segue. It kind of makes it should make sense. DeFi area of the market's getting a little bit firmer. Talked a little bit about things like Chainlink. Look how close it came to the bot level, but move stop to trailing. In fact, if I was aggressively trading this, I probably would have had my stop off of there. For the purposes of you guys, let's call this a day here, and we'll just say that this short trade is done. That's fine by me. No skin off my back. So this setup, and actually pretty respectable. Padding the stats, 2.27 risk reward. It's done. Is this definitely necessarily a new trade to enter? No. But I did like, and we talked about this at length in the daily brief, is hopefully everybody can see. And actually there were people, actually I think I have it on a different chart. Is it over here? Where are you? Actually, I'd like this is like a double reload zone level for Link. So I mean, it was kind of sad that I actually had people asking whether they should panic dump Link yesterday. And I was like, oh goodness. I mean, I can't really even answer that question. I hate being asked those questions after the fact. What the hell did I do with that damn Link chart? Anyway, I have it around here somewhere, but I guess we'll just talk over this. So you can see this is 61.8. I think this is off of the entire range. You could make the argument this is a reload zone just off of this range. So we had things like overlapping reload zones down in here. So, you can actually start thinking trade location. Also, too, sometimes when you go to the well on the third ABCD, like if you don't know this, write this down. I've often seen that, if you have this ABCD, boom, 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 right? It's played itself out. And I don't know whether I really want to get into a tutorial here today, but hope you people in the YouTube like this kind of stuff. But anyway, so you can see A, B, C, D. If you start going A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, I've often seen that these third ones, like sort of second time to the well, they often don't make it the whole way. And I don't know whether that made it or not. I don't think it did, but gee whiz, that's awfully close, eh? So, at this point, do we really want to be trying to suck blood from a stone from shorts? I don't know. I might be asking for trouble. So I don't really have a problem. Any kind of signs of strength, let's just maybe hop off. Is this actually a time to buy? Well, I got to say, the case to start, if you are interested in this story, the case to start thinking about long, see it's building. Hopefully everybody looks at this chart and goes, holy bejesus, look at this momentum divergence. Like there's this one here. So these lows are lower than these lows, but these lows are higher in price than these lows. Then there's also this one here. So these lows are higher than these lows on the MACD histogram, but on the price, they're lower. And then there's also this one here. Holy shit, Kevin. We were joking about what I need to see out of my personal trainer to get me motivated. I think maybe we need to change that. You know where I'm going with this. And remember, everybody, I'm an old salty dog. I like to have fun with this. I don't like to be so serious. People take this shit way too seriously. But if you have fun with this, if you can make funny little euphemisms, if you can come up with funny expressions that help you learn this stuff and remember, right? I'm sure all of you are going to remember Mountain Man until the day you die. It helps make this game called Managing Money actually kind of enjoyable and fun. So I look at a chart like this and I start to see not only single divergences, not only double divergences, but I think I'm starting to see like a triple divergence. What do you think, guys? And ladies, you can answer this too. Does Brian like triple Ds? I won't even answer that. I'll just leave that to your imagination. So, we're kind of building the case. We've got coming into historic lows. In fact, the previous market structure. Remember, we even highlighted this is probably an area I want to keep an eye on. I'm thinking trade location. I'm starting to get indicator confirmation. Hell, is that a W in RSI? Willie is stupidly oversold, but coming out of there now. What's the one thing that is missing? We've got location. We got indicator confirmation. What do we want to see now? If you don't know the answer to this, maybe go back and watch a few of our old videos and maybe even post in the comments. What do you think reason number 3 is Brian's looking for? If you can answer that, then you know exactly what I'm thinking right now. So it's not quite a buy yet, but it is very attractive. And short ideas, I think the shorts are done. And anybody in crypto who's sort of like a DeFi fan, you should be like, thank God, man, that was brutal. And now maybe we can start setting a base to help. The interesting thing is, if I'm not mistaken, Ethereum mainnet goes live in the middle of November. So that means technically they could clean all this up. Maybe we don't ABCD our way down here. maybe we do something like this, and then ultimately, I mean, screw you. We're not Ming out. We're going to go in W and woohoo! Bullish bots. I don't know. Anything can happen in trading. That's why I said don't really get into the habit of predicting the future, because quite often it'll prove you wrong. As it stands right now, actually, interestingly, the way the market has behaved here with this bearish bot potential setup, I don't think this is a valid level anymore. So actually, and I think for purposes of our conversation, I'm just going to take this off because I don't see that bot setting up there. If anything, what I'm kind of thinking now, and this is the same as Bitcoin, is I'm kind of thinking reload zone now. And what we might see here is, if I'm not mistaken, actually that's, well, let's see what level that is. Boom. Okay, we didn't quite hit 50. Sometimes when you can get up to 50, 32 to 50 might be setting up what they call a bat, which actually would paint. Actually, it's interesting how we have that this line right here, because I think there's a gap off the lower time frames. But that would actually ask for 88.6 to be tested there as a nice big bat harmonic. So don't be shocked if you see Ethereum heading into that mainnet event in November. Don't be shocked if this son of a bitch is up here. It wouldn't surprise me. The only problem I have with the bull right now, I just don't think it's ready to, is that's a new low. That's not structurally sound. If anything, what this says to me is, looks like this wants to carve out like a head and shoulders, right? And that level there is going to correspond with that level there. I do, kind of like I showed you with the Bitcoin, I do like the idea that this is our current rally window as the US dollar index is coming off, risk is coming back into the market. I could easily see a rally up, and I'd keep an eye on that 378, let's call it 380, somewhere up in that area, against these previous lows, that high, right? That high. I could see a little rally window. So, what is that? That's a good $50. That's about 10-15%. And those DeFi names, I could see them sort of catch a bid and do something along these lines through that window as well. And you remember our Bitcoin, it can rally back up into mountain man levels and reload zones up top. So, there's your state of crypto. I mean, it's not really a bull, but at least we're not like falling out of bed here. And we've got like a little bit, in fact, probably the Bitcoin chart's probably the best here. We got a little bit of a floor to work with. What a great analogy of candle body lows for trade location, eh? God damn it. Kevin, do you see that? That's ridiculous. I hate when they do that. Right off of that level. Look at that. Oh, you sons of bitches. So I think there's some sort of floor here, right? And for the time being, just like that Ethereum, I'm looking for a press up here. And I wouldn't be surprised if these actually set up harmonic levels, but we'll see what happens. We're, nearing the end of September. We've got this big U.S. political event way over here. Interesting how our sort of market symmetry has been looking for this kind of pull up here. Do we just sit and go sideways for a while here and then puke out? For Bitcoin, I'm kind of thinking that. Ethereum and, the DeFi, maybe they can pump those guys out. So we'll see how it goes. All right, kind of a convoluted day for me. I was interrupting Julian a lot in his presentation. So I hope you got some value out of that. I hope I wasn't too scatterbrained. PMA for the win. All the best. If I did say something of value there, maybe drop me a comment so you feel as though, yeah, Brian, actually that wasn't bad. Because I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to be like, Brian, you talk too much. You're an idiot. Shut up. Blah, blah, blah. So, okay. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being my guinea pig here today. Thank you, Julian, for a great job that you did in the Daily Brief. And all the best, everybody. PMA for the win. And the only thing left for good old Brian to say at this point is a big bye for now. Toodaloo.